It's strange, isn't it? How you can feel your entire world collapsing inside you, and yet no one notices. You pour their coffee, you reply to emails, you smile in meetings, you laugh at jokes that aren't funny anymore. Because this is what we do. We perform sanity while quietly unraveling. Zen doesn't tell you to fight this. It doesn't demand a grand comeback. Instead, it whispers, sit, watch, let even the falling apart be part of the path. And so you do. You sit in your own ruin like it's a garden. The tears you don't shed, they collect like morning dew on the petals of silence. The panic you don't voice, it pulses beneath the surface, like fish beneath still water. No one sees it, but you feel it, all of it. And in this unseen chaos, you begin the first lesson. Stillness is not the absence of pain. Stillness is the presence of your full being, without escape. Every morning you wake up and wear the armor, not of steel, but of smiles, of I'm fine, of it's nothing, of just tired. And no one asks more, because the world doesn't pause for unraveling, it only notices performance. But Zen says, let the unraveling happen, not in drama, not in collapse, but in awareness, because the only thing stronger than pretending to be okay is being present with not being okay. So you breathe, not to fix it, not to force joy, but to witness the ache. Inhale the sorrow, exhale the clinging, and each breath becomes an anchor in the storm. There's a certain elegance in crumbling quietly. No outbursts, no accusations, just the subtle, slow fade of energy. Zen doesn't offer a rescue rope. It offers a seat in the middle of the fire and says, watch what burns, watch what remains. You thought falling apart meant you were failing, but here, in silence, you realize you're not collapsing, you're shedding. The parts of you that needed approval, the parts that depended on control, the parts that begged to be understood, they fall away. And what's left? The quiet core, the unshakable watcher. This is not weakness. This is the beginning of freedom. If you're finding calm in this story, subscribe now, because this is what we do here. We unfold silently, together. Sometimes the most violent storms make no sound. They live in the chest, in the skipped heartbeat when your name is called, in the frozen breath when memories return, in the silence after the text that never came. Zen says, don't run from these storms. Invite them in, serve them tea, ask them what they've come to teach, and you'll find that even pain has wisdom, even heartbreak has form, even sorrow has texture, if you dare to touch it with attention. You don't need to scream, you don't need to explain, you need only to notice, and in noticing, you begin to heal. Your strength is not in your ability to pretend, it's in your capacity to feel without flinching. You sit with the ache, you don't numb it with distraction, you don't cover it with noise, you bow to it. Because pain, when honored, becomes a teacher, and every teacher deserves your silence. No philosophy, no theory, just breath and presence. Zen does not promise escape, it offers intimacy with yourself, with your sorrow, with your real, trembling humanness. And that is more than enough. You begin to realize something profound. Nothing changed, except your awareness. The job still drains you, the relationship still hurts, the past still echoes. But you are still here, watching, breathing, not reacting, not grasping. And in that stillness, a strange kind of power begins to form. The power of not needing things to be different in order to be at peace. That is the power Zen speaks of. It's not flashy, it's not loud, it's the calm that holds its ground even when everything inside is screaming. Letting go isn't forgetting, it's not erasing, it's not pretending you were never hurt. Letting go is the quiet decision to stop carrying what was never yours to begin with. The guilt, the shame, the weight of other people's choices. You set them down, gently, lovingly, not in anger, but in clarity. Because Zen teaches us, what you release, releases you. And in that release, you reclaim your space, your mind, your breath, your life. There is a certain nobility in walking through chaos with grace, not because you're above pain, but because you're beneath reaction. You don't chase every insult, you don't attend every conflict, you don't respond to every storm. Instead, you become the eye of the storm, still, present, unbothered. This isn't avoidance, this is mastery, and it is earned, one silent breath at a time. People will say you've changed. They'll wonder why you don't react the way you used to, why your silence feels different, heavier, wiser. But they won't see the work, the nights you sat with your own shaking heart, the mornings you greeted your anxiety with patience, The hundreds of moments you chose peace over control. Zen doesn't ask you to be understood. It asks you to understand that healing isn't loud, it's subtle. It's in the moment you pause instead of panic, in the second you breathe instead of blame. That is evolution. And so you return to the world. Same job, same responsibilities, same external noise. But you are not the same. You no longer beg the world to change so you can feel okay. You've learned to be okay, regardless. That's the power of stillness. That's the gift of Zen. And now we ask you, what did you let go of? Quietly, secretly, bravely. And how did it change you? Share it below. Because your silence may just be someone else's courage. Some days the calm will feel unreachable. The noise will win. Your mind will spiral. That's okay. This path doesn't promise perfection, only presence. When you forget, begin again. When you break, hold gently. When you fall, fall consciously. Zen isn't a fixed state. It's a returning. To breathe, to awareness, to the witness behind the storm. Every collapse is an invitation to return, softer, slower, wiser, and that is enough. People may misread your calm for indifference. They'll say, "You've changed," as if peace is a betrayal, as if silence means you don't care. But you know the truth. You care, deeply. You feel, completely. You just no longer perform your pain. Zen doesn't remove love, it refines it. You love without needing control. You support without losing yourself. You show up, fully, without chaos. And that makes all the difference. There is no final version of you, no perfect self waiting at the top of the mountain. Only this moment, this breath, this now. And in each now, you have a choice. React or reflect, cling or release, fight or witness. Zen is not a destination, it's a practice of surrender, a practice of returning, a practice of becoming so quiet you can hear truth whisper again. You'll notice small changes first, a deeper inhale when you wake, a pause before speaking, a gentler way of moving through crowded rooms, and slowly, the outside shifts too. Not because you forced it, but because peace reshapes what it touches. The conversations feel softer, the rejections sting less, the joy feels deeper, not louder, just more true. Zen doesn't give you a louder life, it gives you a clearer one, and in that clarity, you find freedom. You will still struggle, still doubt, still fall into old habits, but now, you notice. You no longer shame yourself for slipping. You smile, you bow to the returning pain, and you walk again. This is the rhythm of awakening, not linear, not permanent, but honest. And with every honest moment, you build a life that's not perfect, but real, and real is sacred. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is not getting through the day, but being fully present within it. You feel the ache and don't run. You hear the harsh words and don't shatter. You sit in the discomfort and don't numb. This is the still warrior, the peaceful rebel. Zen doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful, in a quieter way. The kind of power that cannot be taken, because it was never borrowed from the outside. It was grown, breath by breath, inside you. When you stop trying to be impressive, you become impactful. Your silence begins to echo, not as absence, but as presence. People feel your stillness. They trust it. They soften around it. Because true calm is contagious. It doesn't preach, it radiates. Zen teaches us that influence isn't in volume, but in vibration. And your vibration, when grounded in peace, transforms rooms. There will be days when your old self whispers, "Why aren't you reacting? Why aren't you defending? Why aren't you fighting back?" And in those moments, you'll smile, not out of superiority, but out of memory. Because you remember how much that fight cost you, how every reaction drained your energy, how every defense built a wall inside your own heart. Now you build bridges, quiet ones, invisible sometimes, but felt. One day you'll look back and realize the storm didn't destroy you. It carved you, smoothed your sharp edges, exposed your hidden roots, revealed your quiet strength. This is the paradox. You fell apart and found yourself. You broke and became whole. You were lost and came home. Not to a place, but to a presence, to the unwavering, watching stillness that was always there, waiting. And now, here you are, reading these final words, still breathing, still becoming. You didn't overcome the storm, you became the sky. And now we ask you, what does being calm while falling apart mean to you? Have you experienced it? Let us know in the comments. Your story may be the mirror someone else needs. and your stillness might be their first breath of peace.